This is Joyce Kamen reading I Meets Blossom, written and illustrated by my mom, Shirley Kamen. It's a sweet story by the sweetest mom and sweetest bubby ever. This is the story of a very gentle ring-tailed lemur. While growing up in Madagascar, his family lived among the Aye-ayes, a different kind of lemur. They all called him Aye-aye to show their friendship, and he became very fond of that name. He also enjoyed greeting other gentle animals each time he saw them. It became the story of his life. It was a late afternoon. Aye-aye was alone in the woods, sitting on a tree branch which had fallen to the ground among the rocks. Alone? He thought he was alone. But while he was relaxing on the branch, he heard a strange noise. He heard a rattling sound. What could that be? He asked himself. He knew it couldn't be another lemur because they don't make rattling sounds. He also thought he might be dreaming. Then he said, "No, I am not dreaming because I am not tired enough to sleep." After a while, he heard crunching noises which sounded like an animal stepping on dry leaves, and the sound was coming closer to where he was sitting. What could cause all those noises? He asked himself. A rattlesnake? A mouse's footsteps? A turtle? "Wow!" he exclaimed. "Who is this huge bird looking down at me?" The tall bird had the biggest beak Aye-aye had ever seen. They stared at each other for a short time. Then Aye-aye began to talk first. "Who are you?" he asked as he arose and looked up at the strange bird. "I am Shoebill, and I flew here from Africa." "Is Shoebill your name?" asked Aye-aye. "No, my mom named me Blossom when I came out of the egg because she said I looked like a beautiful flower. Other shoebills call me Rattlebeak, and that hurts my feelings. Most shoebills rattle when they are upset, but I rattle more than most." Then Aye-aye asked Blossom if she rattles even if she is feeling good. "I do sometimes because I am always on the lookout for things that might happen to me," she said. "And what is your name?" "I was named Aye-aye by the many friendly Aye-ayes who loved me. But I am a ring-tailed lemur. My tail has white and black rings on it, as you can see. The Aye-ayes have always admired my tail." "You have a very nice tail," added Blossom. "I am proud of my tail," answered Aye-aye as he waved his tail in every direction. It began to get dark, and the moon began to shine through the trees where many birds were nestled. "Blossom, are you hungry?" asked Aye-aye, who hunts at night. "Oh yes, I like fish," replied Blossom, who also hunts at sundown. "Then follow me to the stream." Blossom followed Aye-aye until they reached the water. "This looks great," gushed Blossom, who waded knee-deep into the tiny waves. It took a while, but Blossom patiently waited until she caught a bright orange-colored fish. Aye-aye was at the side of the woods eating fruit, worms, and insects, typical lemur food. Suddenly, they heard thunder in the distance. Blossom began to rattle, and Aye-aye assured her that most animals are afraid of thunder. They returned quickly to the place where they met. It began to rain, and Blossom offered her wings to protect Aye-aye. "Thank you, Blossom. It is so kind of you to help me stay dry." After the rain stopped, they walked for a while until Blossom saw something in the sky. As she looked at it, she began to rattle again. "What is the problem, my friend?" Aye-aye asked. Blossom could not answer because she was rattling non-stop. Aye-aye looked up and saw a most beautiful comet. "Wow!" shouted Aye-aye. "That is a comet, and we don't see them often. They fly high in the sky and they never come down. Don't worry, Blossom, it will soon go away." Blossom calmed down and kept looking at the comet as it finally disappeared. Then Aye-aye told Blossom how lucky they were to have seen such a heavenly sight. The next day, Aye-aye asked Blossom if she would like to meet a real Aye-aye. "I would like that very much," Blossom eagerly replied. They walked a short distance into the woods, and lo and behold, there was Ai-Ai's friend Piper, a real Ai-Ai. "Piper," Ai-Ai announced, "I want you to meet one of my best friends, Blossom." Piper told Blossom how happy she was to meet a friend of Ai-Ai's. They talked for a while, and then played a game of toss with large leaves and small feathers they found on the ground. Blossom used her beak to toss and did a good job with what she called those cute little feathers. They all had fun being with each other. Even a mouse called Precious joined the game. In the morning, Ai-Ai couldn't find Blossom. He searched the woods and hills, and it seemed that he had searched everywhere, when suddenly, as he walked up a small hill, he saw a pangolin, which is an anteater. He knew at once that Blossom was nearby, shaking and rattling. Sure enough, there was Blossom hiding in the underbrush. Ai-Ai called out to her, "That is a pangolin. Everyone calls him Thistle, and he is another one of my friends." Blossom stopped rattling at once, and then thanked Ai-Ai. As they walked away, Blossom said to Thistle, "I'm very glad to meet you." Thistle replied, "Same here." Later that day, Blossom began to rattle while they were walking in the woods. "Are you all right?" asked Ai-Ai. Blossom replied, "I just heard a strange sound and I saw a big shadow." "Don't worry, Blossom," said Ai-Ai. "I see shadows and hear many noises in the woods." The next day, Blossom told Ai-Ai that she was going to fly back to Africa to be with her family. "But I am going back a braver and happier Shoebill." Then she thanked Ai-Ai for watching over her. Ai-Ai put his tail around her and wished her a safe voyage. As she began her flight, Blossom called out, "I will come back one day." "I would be very happy to see you again," Ai-Ai shouted as he watched his friend fly away. The end of Ai-Ai Meets Blossom, written and illustrated by my mom, Shirley Kamen. This is Joyce Kamen.